Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you started us off in this discussion today with an experience you had visiting a state in the Midwest, I believe, where someone said, let's put the farm back in the Farm Bill. And you pointed to that as an inspiration to you to do our work here today. I certainly understand that, but I'd like to amend it. Let's put farm families back in the Farm Bill. And what I'm talking about specifically are not only the profits and losses in farm operations, but the burdens that farm families are carrying. 27% of farm families have Obamacare, Affordable Care Act insurance policies. What's happened to those in the last year? Dramatic increases in cost. A farmer in Nebraska expects to pay for his wife and himself $32,000 this year for health insurance premiums. Last year, $13,000. 13 to 30 to 32. And you say to yourself, what impact does that have? The impact it has is not just on that family and their fear of how they're going to pay the premiums, but a question about health care providers in his farm state, in his rural state. What do the hospitals tell you when you go home? Do you visit them in the rural areas? You should. Senator Duckworth and I sent letters to 129 rural hospitals in Illinois and said, how are you doing? More than half of them said we're in trouble, serious trouble. And if you look at the numbers across the board, in Illinois, 24 rural hospitals, 30% of the total are at risk of closure. In Arkansas, 50% at risk of closure, a rural hospital. Mississippi, 6 hospitals facing closure. Senator Thune, South Dakota, 40% of hospitals are on the brink of closure. What happens when the hospital closes? Well, I can tell you right off the bat, it means that the farmer that was injured in a serious, maybe life-threatening accident takes longer and longer to get to an emergency room. The mother who's about to deliver a baby, faces a longer trip. Same thing is true across the board when it comes to clinics and healthcare provisions. Now, some people argue you shouldn't be putting this in the Farm Bill. There are plenty of other places to debate it. I disagree. We have a section of this Farm Bill before us today on rural development. Do you know what it considers? Utilities, water, electricity, entrepreneurship, basic quality of life for farmers and farm families. And you have to say to yourself, why doesn't it have anything to do with hospitals, rural hospitals? A rural hospital drives the economy of the counties where it's located in Illinois. I'll bet the same thing's true in Minnesota and across the board in every one of our states. So here's what I'm proposing. It's modest by federal standards, but it's important. I think we ought to make a commitment in this Farm Bill to rural hospitals. And what I am proposing is that we create an opportunity for rural hospitals to get up to $8 million in grants to survive. These are hospitals that are serving clearly rural areas and not wealthy people. They are struggling farm families and struggling rural families. What does it amount to? 5 years at $200 million amounts to $1 billion. Durbin, what are you talking about? $1 billion amendment? We can't deal with that. Well, I think we can. It represents 48 hours in the war in Iran. This war that's in its 6th month of its first year is costing us billions of dollars and no one's asking anything about it. I'm asking, why can't we take $1 billion that was dedicated for this war in Iran and put it on the war that members in the rural areas, the families and the businesses are facing? So I offer amendment number 6.